Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. 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 Hari Om to everybody. Before we take up our the feet of God, we thought we would share some thoughts about Mahatma Ji, whose 151st birthday was yesterday. Many of you or all of you might know that Papa has mentioned the first touch of spirituality. No? It came after seeing Mahatma Ji at a distance. We later on came to know that that was instrumental for Papa to switch over to Khadi, start spinning, even join the national movement for some time. So the basis, the first impression, the best impression. So he was introduced to spirituality, we can say, through Gandhiji. And Gandhiji's approach, we find the same in Papa's approach. We will now hear a few words of Gandhiji about God. There is an indefinable, mysterious power that pervades everything. I feel it, though I do not see it. It is this unseen power which makes itself felt and yet defies all proof, because it is so unlike all that I perceive through my senses. It transcends the senses. Every word, we have to solve. The act of seeing, That's what he says. I feel it, though I don't see it. Can we say, how are we seeing it now? How are we hearing? How are we knowing that we are sitting? Think. Same word Papa has used in the first book. Ram is the mysterious power. Same word. So I feel it, though I do not see it. It is the unseen power which makes itself felt. Now, it makes itself in the form of knowing. Yet defies our proof. Can we bring it and place it before us? No. Because it is so unlike all that I perceive through my senses. Whatever I perceive through my senses, it can be brought in, proved, shown, tested. Whatever I have seen, whatever I have heard, whatever I have tasted, whatever I have touched, whatever I have smelled. But this cannot be brought like that. It is the unseen power. Entire spirituality has been brought out beautifully. It's a food for thought, food for contemplation. Finally, it will lead us to the core. I do dimly perceive that while everything around me is ever changing and ever dying, there is an underlying all that change, a living power that is changeless, that holds together, that creates, dissolves, recreates. This informing power of spirit is called God. I do dimly perceive, just like our peace pilgrim, when she started observing the changes, she was able to see the changes of days. Normally we say, when we see a site, when we see a building, we don't see the site. When we see anything, we don't see the space. When we open a book and start reading it, you will see the letters, not the base. The whiteness, on which the letters are there. But we only see the letters. I do dimly perceive. The letters keep on changing. Objects keep on changing. Even the sun, dawn, morning, forenoon, noon, afternoon, evening, night. See the changes? But again it is coming, So can we call it as changes? Think about it. If the changing is real, it cannot come back again. So there is one which keeps on, a changeless one. So my thoughts make me believe I am. But behind the thought, all of us are spiritual children of Papa. We are votaries of Ram Nam. We have been asked to chant Ram Nam. Both Papa and Mataji keep on insisting that what is needed is to see the gap between two mantras. Mataji was blunt in saying that blankness is Papa. You remember? Ram Nam is a sound. That is why Papa said the utterance of God's name is to make the mind ultimately still, free from all thoughts. Stillness is the base. To have a glimpse through that phase, our thoughts are going here and there. We want to completely focus on particular thought with the help of Ram Nam, and then the Ram Nam stops. Again the Ram Nam starts. In between the stopping and the starting. There is a gap. Changes. So I do dimly perceive that while everything around me is ever changing and ever dying, there is underlying all that change, a living power that is changeless, that holds all together, that creates, dissolves, recreates. This informing power of spirit is God. The truth is that God is the force. He is the essence of life. Capital L. If it is small l, it is referring to the period between date of birth and date of birth. It is capital L, life. That means that life force, which enables all of us to feel we are now. All the equipments are vibrating with life. That is why all our senses are working. All departments in our body, mind, intellect complex are working. He is pure, undefiled consciousness. Again, no? Chit. The knowing principle at every moment of our life. Not conscious of consciousness itself. Capital C. You know that you are seeing. You know that you are hearing. If the knowing principle is not there, seeing and hearing is not possible. So he is pure, undefiled consciousness. He is eternal. And yet, strangely enough, all are not about to derive, either benefit from or shelter in the all-pervading living presence. Strangely. So this is the truth. None of us are aware of the truth. Electricity is a powerful force. Not all can benefit from it. It can only be produced by following certain laws. It is a lifeless force. Man can utilize it if he can labor hard enough to acquire the knowledge of its laws. The living force, which we call God, can similarly be followed if we know and follow His law, leading to the discovery of Him in us. Unless and until they know electricity can only be produced by following certain laws. Hydroelectric or thermal or nuclear. The living force which we call God, no? Living force. Now it is very clear, no? Can similarly be followed if we know and follow His law, leading to the discovery of Him in us. God is an unseen power residing within us. There are many powers lying hidden within us, and we discover them by constant struggle. Even so, we may find the supreme power if we make a diligent search with the fixed determination to find it. Many might not know that Papa was essentially a man of God. No? And all these things he is telling not from Shastras, but from his own experience. That is why the language is so, smooth, not very hard. But we have to struggle. Diligent search with the fixed determination to find it. My God does not reside above. He has to be realized on earth. He is here, within you, within me. He is omnipotent, omnipresent. You need not think of the world beyond. If we can do our duty here, the beyond will take care of itself. This is one of the unique approach of Gandhi. We mostly, whenever we discuss about spirituality, unknowingly our mind also goes to the after that period, What will happen? How will I do? How did I do? All those things. He says, don't worry about it. You do your duty here. It will take care of the other one. You need not think of the world beyond. If we can do our duty here, the beyond will take care of itself. And we also said, man's ultimate aim is the realization of God, and all his activities, social, political, religious, we can add family, profession, all have to be guided by the ultimate aim of the vision of God. Next line, please note. The immediate service of human beings becomes a necessary part of this endeavor, simply because the only way to find God is to see Him in His creation and be one with it. We need not go anywhere else. The immediate service of human beings becomes a necessary part of the endeavor, simply because the only way to find God is to find Him in His creation and then be one with it. This can only be done through one's country. I am a part and parcel of the whole, and I cannot find Him apart from the rest of humanity. Same word Papa uses. The life principle that activates our beings is the same. We all breathe the same air, walk on the same earth, and are equally entitled to the enjoyment of the amenities which nature provides. The earth yields its rich gift to all alike. The differences between man and man on the material plane are in truth unnatural and improper. Why? For the component parts and the composition of human bodies and the qualities inherent in them are not diverse and conflicting. This is a simple truth, but we have forgotten. Just like I have the power to think, you also have been gifted with the power to think. I must recognize that, Just like I have got the power to possess, to hold my rights and wrongs, similarly they also have the right. God has given them the right to possess what is right and wrong. And the moment this gets revealed, you will not have rights and wrongs. Because you don't have to separate anything, That is the final acceptance, and we accept everything. Beautiful word. For the component parts and composition of human bodies and the qualities inherent in them are not diverse and conflicting. If we look with the pure vision that belongs to an enlightened mind, you do not see any clear-cut line of demarcation that isolates man from man, one set of people from another, one nation from another. We are indeed part of the stupendous whole, the same word, We are units that form the world community or family, so we can live and act as members of a world brotherhood or federation. There are some more. So just we have given us a clue now. If we want to see God face to face, you have to look at His creation. Then only we recognize ourselves as a creation. Its uniqueness. Right from the raw material up to the finished produce. The other day he said, Ishavashyam idam sarvam. Nothing is ours. Everything is His. These are all now. When we are reading at the feet of God, this will all really help us. Because the word God is there, The more I get clarity on the word God, I don't mean theoretical, experience. Then the entire text becomes easy for us to assimilate. Otherwise it is, to be blunt, it is merely an intellectual exercise. So that is why every now and then Papa now gives us so many inputs, so that with that input, we may be able to assimilate. God is not some person outside ourselves, Swamiji says, or away from the universe. He pervades everything and is omniscient as well as omnipotent. He does not need any praise or petitions. Being immanent in our being, He hears everything and reads our innermost thoughts. He abides in our hearts and is nearer to us than the nails on our fingers. God is then not a person, not an entity. He is the all-pervading, all-powerful Spirit, just capital. Anyone who hears Him in his heart has accession of a marvelous force or energy, comparable in its results to physical forces like steam or electricity, but with more subtlety. To me, God is truth. To me, God is love. God is ethics and morality. God is fearlessness. God is the source of light and life. L capital, both. Yet He is above and beyond all these. God is conscience. He is even the atheism of the atheist. For in His boundless love, God permits the atheist to live. He is the searcher of the heart. He knows us and our heart. He knows us and our hearts better than we do ourselves. He is personal God to those who need His personal presence. He is embodied to those who need His touch. He is the purest essence. He is to those who have faith. He is all things to all men. That is why he doesn't rule out the personal aspect. The word God is Satchitananda. We are reading from Gandhiji's book. The word Satya is derived from Sat, which means being, existence. And nothing is or exists in reality except truth. That is why Sat or truth is perhaps the most important name of God. In fact, it is more correct to say the truth is God than to say God is truth. And where there is truth, there is knowledge. Where there is no truth, there can be no true knowledge. That is why the word Chit or knowledge is associated with the name of God. And where there is true knowledge, there is always bliss, Ananda. Sorrow has no place there. And even as truth is eternal, so is the bliss derived from it. Hence we know God as Satchit Ananda, one who combines in himself truth, knowledge and bliss. I do feel there is orderliness in the universe. There is an unalterable law governing everything and every being that lives and moves. It is not a blind law, for no blind law can govern the conduct of living beings. The law and the lawgiver are one. I may not deny the law or lawgiver because I know so little about it. Even as my denial or ignorance of the existence of an earthly power will avail nothing. Even if I say there is nothing called electric power, it is not affected by it. Just like when we say there is no car, there is no space, it's not affected by it. Even as my denial or ignorance of the existence of an earthly power will avail nothing, so will not my denial of God and His law. God is, even though the whole world deny Him, God is. God is, even though the whole world denies. God embraces not only this tiny globe of ours, but millions and millions of such globes. How can we, little crawling creatures, so utterly helpless as He has made us, how could we possibly measure His greatness? His boundless love, His infinite compassion. So great is His infinite love and pity that He allows man insolently to deny Him, wrangle about Him, cut the throats of His fellow men. How can we measure the greatness of God, who is so forgiving, so divine? He allows us freedom, and yet His compassion commands obedience to His will. But if any one of us disdains to bow to His will, I will not follow all these things. I don't believe in all those things. Even if I say and do, God will not say. God will say, so be it. My sun will shine no less for thee. He is not suspending anything, Even when in my puny intellect, I deny all the laws and the lawgiver, still His mercy is such that nothing is denied to me. Later on I will come to realize that even the power to deny is given by Him. See, the power is not there. Life force is not there. He cannot deny, My sun will shine no less for thee. My clouds will rain no less for thee. I need not force thee to accept my sway, God says. Of such a God, let the ignorant dispute the existence. I am one of the millions of wise men who believe in Him, and I am never tired of bowing to Him and singing His glory. God is the hardest taskmaster I have known on earth. He tries you through and through. And when you find your faith is failing, or your body is failing you, and you are sinking, He comes to your assistance somehow or other, and proves to you that you must not lose your faith and that he is always at your beck and call, but on his terms. So I have found I cannot recall a single instant when, at the 11th hour, he has forsaken me. If I keep on reading the whole he has many names. There is only one omnipotent and omnipresent God. He is named variously and we remember him by the name which is familiar to us. Each person can choose the name that appeals to him. Ishvara, Allah, Khuda. God means the same. God has 1,000 names. Or rather, he is nameless. We may worship or pray to him by whichever name that pleases us. All worship the same Spirit. But as all foods do not agree with all names do not appeal to all. Each chooses the name according to his association and he being the indweller, all-powerful, omniscient, knows our inmost feeling and responds to us according to our desires. When we hear this, we remember now, even the word democracy has come from him. Equal rights. Man can only conceive God within the limitation of his mind. What matters then whether one man worship God as a person, another as a force? Both do right according to their light. One need only remember that God is the force among all the forces. All other forces are material, but God is the vital force of spirit, which is all-pervading, all-embracing, and therefore beyond human ken. We can keep on reading like this, but then today we talk about one more aspect of Gandhiji. When he has introduced God in a most understandable way to an ordinary layman, he has also given 11 brothers. Whenever anybody wanted to join him, or join his ashram, Sabarmati or Sevagram, they have to undergo these 11 robes. Initially we thought, it's something like austerity, what we normally name it for certain types of rituals, certain types of self-denials. But a little pondering over the 11 brothers will reveal that he is giving us a methodology. When he says, when you want to see God, you look at his creation, be one with it, These 2 words, Look at his creation and be one with it. If that has to take place, the body-mind intellect has to subject itself to some brother. So he experimented on these brothers and then he came out with that. We will just go through that. At least, when we know that he has placed before us these brothers. Ahimsa, Satyam, Asteyam, Brahmacharyam, Aparigraham, Sharira Shrama, Aswad, Sarvatra Bhayavarjanam, Sarva Dharma Samatvam, Swadeshi, Parshabhava. In English, non-violence, truth, non-stealing, Brahmacharya, self-discipline, control of all senses, non-possession, bread labor, bodily labor, control of the palate, fearlessness, equality of all God's religion. Use locally made goods. Remove untouchability. And each one has been elaborately discussed. We can have only a aerial survey. Because these 11 Vradas itself, if we go through that, then the day before us, if we don't understand, go through his life, or in our case, Papa's life, Mataji's life, then we will know, oh, this is true. This is non-violence. Non-violence means not merely, first he says truth, okay. Truth is not fulfilled by mere abstinence from telling or practicing untruth. All other observances take their rise from the quest for the worship of truth. Anything that is, there is a beautiful saying, if you say untrue, if you say truth always, if you are habituated to telling truth always, you don't have to remember. Because you will only tell the truth. That is true. Whatever is, that isness. So when we look at a person, we suddenly come out with a judgment. We are not trying to check up the isness in him. When we see the isness in him, we will accept him. See, from the very word truth, we thought, truth means, opposite of untruth. It is not like that. It is also there, no doubt. But far from that is that isness, That is there. And next comes non-violence. Mere not killing the animals is not enough. It demands equal consideration for all life, from the tiniest insect to the highest man. When we come to the human level, thought, word or deed. So similarly, it is not merely the ahimsa. The moment we hear ahimsa, normally we all understand, no hinsa of animals. Not. He must serve the wrongdoer, that is what it is. He must never submit to his wrong or his injustice, but must oppose it with all his might and resentment. But, many of his movements you might have heard, many of you have heard. He was asking somebody, yesterday we read, when the Guruvayur Satyagraha was planned, Guruvayur temple, the famous Guruvayur temple, it was not open to all. Only the upper caste were holding it. So, Galapaji and many people from Kerala, they took the lead, wrote to Gandhi. Just like Vaikam Satyagraha, Guruvayur also we are planning. It should be, even during the streets, around the temple, the untouchable, so-called untouchable society had then named. They don't have access. So So when Kadapaji wrote, Gandhiji writes, this is very non-violent. Yes, it is good. We must struggle and sacrifice for the restoration of equal right to everybody. But when you go there, you are not fighting with the authorities. You are trying to transform their mind. They will come and beat. You should not retaliate. You should not do anything that will offend them. Attack them. Don't attack them. If you think you can suffer meekly, you can endure everything, then you join. Because the purpose is not only to win this, win forever. Not out of force, not out of duress, not out of compulsion. It's a transformation of the mind. That is it. Everybody was beaten. Everybody was driven out. Still there was no retaliation. In South Africa, when he God made him to initiate this in South Africa, So then ruler said, he is a peculiar person. He doesn't violently react. So the moment you keep on asking, you will stop, Mental transformation. That is the way he led the freedom movement. Every word, he has tested it. Chastity, Brahmacharya. Observance of the foregoing principle is impossible without the observance of celibacy. It is not enough that one should not look upon any woman or man with a lustful eye or animal passion. Animal passion must be so controlled as to be excluded even from the mind. So to become angry, to become cruel, no. And next he will say, control of the palate. Many of you might be remembering that in his 34th year or 35th year, he took the Brahmacharya Vrata. Ba easily consented. That means as soon as he landed in India, he was born in 69, 31, plus another 3 or 4. But 2004 to 1906 or 7, just imagine. Before he plunged into the national movement and various social welfare movement, he was able to free himself from the greatest hurdle in a human being, which is called the lust. A sinful touch, gesture or word is a direct breach of this principle. And he says, observance of Brahmacharya has been found from experience to be extremely difficult so long as one has not acquired mastery over taste. Control of the palate has therefore been placed as a principle. Eating is necessary only for sustaining the body and keeping it a fit instrument for service, but never be practiced for self-indulgence. Food must therefore be taken like medicine, under proper restraint. In pursuance of this principle, one must eschew exciting foods such as spices and condiments, meat, liquor, tobacco, bhang are excluded from the ashram. This principle requires abstinence from feasts and dinners which has pleasure as their object. In ashram we can say payasam. Suppose you try to control, I will not take, then somebody says today there is payasam. There is, what is that, Kesari bath, Shira. Immediately, you say, I will take a spoon. Control of palate. Non-stealing. It is not enough not to take another property without his permission. One becomes guilty of theft even by using differently anything which one has received in trust for use in particular way, as well as by using a thing longer than the period for which it has been lent. Actually, when all these things we have gone through Papa's life also. Non-stealing, we will just share when you have to go to the Prachi. So they arranged, that you cannot walk, you go by cart. So bullock cart was arranged. They went to hire to 1 rupee. So he got into and he couldn't see, he couldn't tolerate the other man beating. He got down. But he was employed for this, he should not be denied. So he gave that 1 rupee to him. And then he walked back. The first thing what he did was to pay back that 1 rupee back to him. He says, one becomes guilty of theft even by using it differently, anything which he has received in trust for use in a particular way. It was given to him as for cart hire. The giver would not have bothered whether Gandhiji spends or not. Papa spends or not. But as a sadhaka, Papa knew that this is a violation of non-stealing. And not a thing to be longer than the period for which it has been lent. Sure. You can use it for the trip. I use it. Immediately after I come back, I should give back. Otherwise it is stealing. Non-possession or poverty. Aparigraha. This principle is really a part of non-stealing. Just as one must not receive, so must one not possess anything which it does not really need. It would be a breach of this principle to possess unnecessary foodstuffs, unnecessary clothing, unnecessary furniture. For instance, one must not keep a chair if he can do without it. Everybody heard, When you go back to think about your house, practical, very practical. It is not an utopian tall talk, dream. Then, Swadeshi. On those days it was Indian made. Now you can say locally made. We go in for, because we have to encourage our near and dear people. Whole Khadi movement came because of that. Khadi product is not limited only to the clothes. When we went to Pavna, we were taken to different places. There, coconut oil, gingerly oil, groundnut oil. Everything is directly done and extracted. And suppose you start buying it. Anything that is made locally. Then, fearlessness, abhayam, nirbhayatva. Yesterday we were telling, Gandhi, I think he shared with you, that's cobra. He was not afraid of anything, Even when a Pathan came to stab him. He knew that Pathan was moving towards him to stab. So he immediately started moving towards the Pathan. And then they had a conversation. And finally the Pathan handed over the one thing which he was holding in his hand. Later on somebody asked, the Pathan left. How did it? It's a dagger. If there was fear, just imagine. When the Britishman said that if he lands here, Champa, the indigo cultivators problem, Gandhi went there finally. When the British government levied a land revenue which is not affordable, there was a big movement, and the British government then used all its forces to suppress it. Finally, the farmers appealed to Gandhiji, and Gandhiji went there. So as soon as he got, everybody came near him, rounded him, and told him, please go back, because a person has threatened that if you land here, he will shoot you. And he said, don't worry. So Gandhiji was taken to a house where he was to camp. Everything settled down. In the dead of night, in the meantime, he is a very, very fast thinker. He gathered all the details about the person who said so. He found out, and then he ensured that everybody is fast asleep. He went to him, unarmed, walked out the way, knocked at the door, and then he came. He said, I am M.K. Gandhi. I was told you wanted to shoot me, and I went. Nobody will see you. But you have your reasons to think. I have nothing against you. They came here to study their problem and represent it. But if you feel I am a hindrance, you can remove me. You are seeing God in everybody, That is why there was Nirbhayatvam. Suddenly he couldn't, he immediately asked him to sit down, and then he said, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I will do what all my best to withdraw this. See, Nirbhayatvam. It is not merely, I am free from fear. It is the height of realization. Realization of the common denominator, the force in everything, in everybody. And that was the base from which Gandhiji built up his entire movement. The next is the removal of untouchability. It is still a blot on Indian society. Very unfortunate to know that it is still prevalent. Even after 73 years of independence, even when we celebrate Gandhiji's Jayanti every day, we cannot celebrate now, as somebody has beautifully said. It's only a birthday, that's all. If you are really celebrating his Jayanti, you must definitely think in terms of what all he said and what all that can be applied in our life. Our love and respect for Gandhiji is there, but it is at the emotional level, sentimental level, surface level, superficial level. Untouchability. When all are equal, let's say he put the word Harijan. Hari means God. He was publishing newsletters weekly. One he had named it as Harijan. Harijan Bandhu. Then Samadharoma. See, when we know that God is expressing through different schools of philosophy, schools of approach, we will have Sarva Dharma Samabhavana. It doesn't mean that we have to leave ours. Actually, Hinduism, we have said, Hinduism clearly mentioned Ishavashyam idam sarvam. In Bhagavad Gita, he says, Mamevamsho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatana. I am there as an amsha in everybody. Is there any classification that he is not there in a person who does not subscribe to our faith? Gandhiji is every word. He has done a lot of thinking. And that is why in his mind there was no division, though he was holding on to Ramnam. In letter and spirit he was Hindu. He was quoting these, Ishavashyamidam sarvam. He is the only ruler. He is the only. Papa used to say everything. Remember, nothing is yours. Everything is his. Everything means what? Everything and everybody in it. Every thought, every move, everything. Then, physical labor. Nowadays it is becoming absent. Sharira Shrama. Man can be saved from enjoying society as well as himself only if he sustains his physical existence by physical labor. Everything, we get it done. Fundamental mistake. All ashrams are, inmates are suffering now because, everything is provided. When you go to a Sevagram, when you go to Pavanar, you have to do this by yourself as a part of your sadhana. Because the body has been given and it is governed by certain laws. If the laws are violated, then body will violate. So in all our profession, it is crept in. Everywhere, we do our brain work. Morning till evening. But nowadays we find many youngsters coming from different places, settling down in remote, far-off places, in villages, and they take up farming. The joy that one gets when one does actually physical labor is something inexplicable. When we do everything by ourselves, unknowingly all the organs of the body are exercised. It's like what is it? If I am wiping the clothes, this. Now we go and pay money to what is it?
Washing machine.
Washing machine. The hospital, they have got
Physiotherapy.
All basic things. This, we do like this. When we do the grinding of the rice dough.
When we wipe our backs,
everything.
We use the towel back.
Yeah. At least I think nobody has brought out anything. Let me also come. So the Sharira Shrama. Able-bodied adults should do all their personal work themselves and should not be served by others except for proper reasons. But they should at the same time remember the service of children as well as of the disabled, the old and the sick is a duty incumbent on every person who has the required strength. Keeping in view these objects, no laborers are employed in the ashram, and if at all they are inevitably employed, the dealing with them would not be of an employer-employee. Sharira Shrama. So just imagine, when we try to practice any of these or all of these or some 5%, 1%, how the individual gets refined. How slowly the spirituality, what is that word of Papa about spirituality? Spirituality that cannot be applied in actual life is no spirituality. God is in the world and is acting through every one of us. Spirituality that cannot be applied in actual life is no spirituality. God is in the world and is acting through every one of us. God realization does not mean disappearing into some unknown realm beyond the world. True spirituality consists in our living in this world, moving in it, serving all beings, all the time being conscious of the divine within us, everywhere around us. So these vratas help us to bring home this fundamental truth. Spirituality that cannot be applied in actual life is no spirituality. So the Brahmacharya, Asteyam, Aparigraham, Aswad, then absence of untouchability, Sarvadharma Samabhavana, Sharira Shrama, Brahmacharya, Swadeshi, then what else? No, absence of fear, truth, important, then Aparigraha, non-perfect. Whatever that is. Just imagine, you just start listing, and to what extent the individual gets refined. Gandhiji wanted, this is the sadhana, very difficult. Gandhiji wanted everyone who follows him should be able to do that. And he was doing everything by himself. When we go to Sabarmati or Sevagram, we can see the way in which they were, how Baba was cooking, how water was drawn from the well, everything, in the nearby river, how they were washing their clothes. We should not go just as tourists and see and come back. We must relive the moment, We have heard, when we read many of his books, we have found many instances, many episodes. So we then try to see, these are the place where he sat, where he did everything by himself.
I was thinking, first point you have to take bath in the cold water. Itself is the greatest effort.
Not in this climate.
No,
they... He started this because he was essentially a great noble soul. We are all individuals. We have got conditioned ourselves and we cannot jump into it. Not even think about it. But 1%, 10%, 5%.
You take the beginning. They will follow you. You take for
Whatever is possible.
Then I'll follow you.
Because God has not given us that sort of endurance in us.
No, but if you have
See, now, every individual we know, they fall sick. Whether he is a saint or a sinner. And they are asked to, either the saint permits or the devotees, followers, they rush for medical aid, admit him. Have you ever heard Gandhiji getting admitted in a hospital? Just imagine. Just imagine. 48 he passed away, 69. That means 79 years old he was when he passed away. Not that he was not getting sick. Then he used to experiment with his own, the 5 elements, which is called nature cure. But that he was able to do it because of these vratas. We are talking about winter, no? Gandhiji's dress we all know, no? No upper cloth even.
Even England. England.
The moment he discarded his usual dress, but till he dropped.
That he was famously called half-naked fakir by Churchill. He had told him this way.
Oh, today it is, we will close this because technically, aesthetic of God, So we will close with Papa's darshan of Gandhiji. Page number 46. Yet another vision. There was a hazy light in a room. On an armchair was sitting the world-renowned Mahatma Gandhi. A short piece of white color covered his waist. It was dark in color, lean and bent, but on his face was the very light of God. Papa's words. His eyes were brilliant and there was a contemplative look in him. Ramdas was sitting on the floor about 2 yards in front of him. Wonder of wonders, almost visible rays of irresistible attraction were issuing out of him. Ramdas felt he was being drawn towards him with a powerful force, as though a strong magnet was drawing towards it a tiny needle. Ramdas could sit no longer. He stood up, but could not maintain the posture. He was unconsciously drawn to Mahatma Gandhi. Now his erect posture changed, and he stood at an angle. His head leaning towards the Mahatma. To avoid a fall, he moved towards the chair, walked up to the back of the chair, and there he stood in a state of trance. So to what extent Gandhiji, Papa was influenced by Gandhiji? Just imagine. He must have been thinking about him, otherwise then it cannot be. He writes here 3. One is Krishna, the other is Buddha, and third one is Gandhiji.
Jesus, okay?
That was later, when he went to Vasishtha Guha. This was not. This is attribute of God. This is attribute. And how meticulous, It is not like you and I we also see these 3%. But this explanation itself, how spiritually they are united, Individually separate, spiritually united. So, Papa would be very happy if we go through Gandhian text, in order that no visitor, even in posterity, should not forget this. was insisting for a photo of Gandhiji inside the bhajan hall, along with all the saints, and he planted the banyan tree on the day when Gandhiji stopped his fast, 21 days fast. It is not an ordinary incident, planting one. To perpetuate the memory. Then we suddenly can get ourselves connected with Gandhiji. Gandhiji and our spiritual preceptor Papa. And then we find, Papa would not have given us this 11 Vratas in this way. So he wants us to go and see whether anything can be done. All these things have come in different forms in Papa's teaching. All these things have come, but probably not in the way of 11 Vrata order. When suppose we make an elaborate research, we will be able to quote about Brahmacharya, Asteya, Parigraha. Probably we have not heard about this Sharira Shama, that's all. Otherwise, untouchability, absence of untouchability, revering all faith, fearlessness, non-possession, non-stealing.
Sharishama, he was walking a lot, he was a kind of Sharishama only. After walking, Papa has done.
He has done.
Kind of Sharishama.
He has done. In his teaching, he did not say everybody should walk, In his life, you are right. In his early days. But in Gandhiji's uniqueness was, till he dropped to the body, he was maintaining. Something amazing, amazing. And we found the other day how he was explaining about Ishopanishad. So, on his 151st birthday, let us all try to think more and more of it. That is the purpose for which all these things are celebrated, Not to have a sentimental or emotional level appreciation and then we are forgetting, There should be something that's getting stamped in our heart. And we try out of these 11, 1/100th of one we can try, Whichever is not possible, we will not bother about it. Whatever is possible, we will try. At least by the thinking about these 11 Vratas itself, we may get purified. Constantly when we think about these 11 Vratas, when we go to the dinner table, we find, when I buy an extra creature comfort, I'll be careful. I may buy, but I will know, not necessary. Still the craving is there. Like that, first of all, when we remember this, we feel, we should have. Then slowly the control of the senses, control of this thing, how to do that we will try. So that all these things be in our mind today intensely. And with that background, we will go to at the feet of God tomorrow. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om